I couldn't tell if you said
We're live. We are live, everyone. Welcome to the Point 3 Podcast Wednesday live stream. Our first live stream of March with your favorite trio of hosts, Spider-Bat Brando, Lou, Hero Scroll. Guys, how are we feeling today? How are we feeling? Let's tell the Point 3 people how we're feeling.
We're feeling good, man. This is the first time back, all three of us, in like a week and a little over a week. So it feels good. Feels great. It was a good weekend. Dune 2 came out. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, yeah.
Just a good weekend, man. we got a lot to share, which is nice. And for once, it's not a lot of superhero stuff. We do have that because obviously, but there's
That's a fair
more.
point. There's more to
So
life than
Metro
just
Boomin
superheroes. What does it say?
you want some more.
There you go. Metro Boomin. Just a quick little spoiler-ish warning for people as we get a little bit deeper in the MCU news. Try to be sensitive here, a little bit of those things, can't all be Daniel RPK out here, but
Our best friend.
Point 3 podcast about best friend right there.
Yeah.
News. Spider-Man now. I feel like you should do the honors for our first topic here.
So we got Dune 2 opened last weekend with $81.5 million global. Nearly, no, wait, was that? I don't know if that was global or not.
No, domestic.
I had I saw some weird numbers when it came to like the global stuff and like domestic, but it doubled Dune 1's opening weekend, so that's cool to see. And boy, was that double the movie than what Dune 1 was. As good as Dune Part 1 was, Dune Part 2, they crossed the Spider-Verse it. We went into Across the Spider-Verse. How could you top the first one? And we always said Metro Boomin wanted more. Dune 2 did that.
Yeah. To not give like any crazy spoilers for those that haven't seen it, and eventually we'll do like a Dune 2 full-on review, hopefully. Me personally, it just felt like more of the first one, and that's not a bad thing. It just felt like a continuation. I don't think I liked Dune 2 more.
Oh.
But I liked Dune 1 a lot. It was like a very high bar. And Dune 2 met that. Like, it didn't surpass it, but it didn't fall under it. It was like right there. I think of these as like one continuous movie, to be honest.
That's very fair.
I really enjoyed it. My theater was packed. I don't know about yours, Spider-Man.
My theater was pretty packed. I remember when I was just buying the tickets alone for it, it was packed. I'm pretty sure it was probably sold out by the time I like got there.
Here's my.
I saw it in Dolby. I just wanted to say that it was phenomenal in Dolby. This, oh my god, the audio, like some of the screams.
Dolby's untouched when it comes to like
amazing,
audio
freaking
quality.
Amazing.
Let me ask you guys a question. I haven't seen it yet. Obviously, you guys have. Does this movie just prove that casual fans who want to see a good movie are just out there, ready for the picking? If marketing hits, the story hits, the teasers, all of those things and the hype all align, people will still show up to go see in a movie that was anticipated to be one of, if not the best of the year, 3 months in already. Do casuals still exist?
For sure.
I think this and Oppenheimer both prove that.
I was going to say, fun little fact. This, I think, was 10 million less than what Oppenheimer made its like first opening weekend. And we got to think that was a big blockbuster July movie.
Yeah.
This is in March, which is normally like kind of that. It's not dead, but you can put something a little more risky, and not Dune 2 is kind of risky in ways. But yeah, for
just
it
by
to make
itself
that
too.
much,
By itself,
yeah,
there's no Barbenheimer double hype going.
Yo, I will say, Marvel is so lucky that this movie did not have to compete against, or not even compete, that this movie didn't come out when the Marvels came out. Because, boy, would the Marvels have gotten even more shit on than it already did.
It's kind of my point that I was going with, of showing like there's still money out there for the box office. And I think these last probably 12 months have really shown the shift in box office and like where the control kind of is. Like Dune 2 solidifies that I think Disney and their hold over the box office is done.
Yeah. There's competition again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is a good thing.
Great
Which is a good thing.
For sure.
The legendary CEO says that Dune Messiah will happen if there's a script that is on par with the first two.
Fair.
Do we odds that that's possible? High, low, medium, non-existent?
99.9% chance. I mean,
I feel like there's a very, very, very high chance that this happens. Just look at how well received Dune 1 and 2 have gotten so far.
yeah.
And just box office alone from Dune 2, I feel like it'll break even and make its money's worth.
This movie has legs, right? And then I was also seeing a thing that also said, for not only from the perspective of like moviegoers that really enjoyed it, I think even the son of the author of Dune, it's like out of all the things that have ever made an adaptation of Dune, like this is the closest to anything that his father would have ever dreamed of. So when even like people working closely to this project are like, yo, this is amazing. I mean, it speaks for itself.
I know this is old and out of style to say, but this to me is like a weird flex type of comment where it's just like, even if it's good, yeah, they might do it. And it's like, obviously, like this is one of the most obvious things I've seen.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's a humble brag.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Maybe not a humble brag. Could be strange for some people. I don't know. Little divisive as time's passed. But the Netflix Avatar series has been renewed for a season 2 and season 3. Good idea or bad idea?
It's odd that they threw in season 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised that it got a season 2. From when I was reading some articles the other day, and it said like this is ahead of even like the One Piece live action Netflix series in terms of like viewership. This is ahead of that, so I'm not surprised. And the hype surrounding it, and from what people were saying, I still haven't watched it yet, but I've talked to some friends that have, and some other people, and they're like, yeah, no, this show looks really good. It has its problems, and they just, from everybody that I've talked to that likes it, says the same thing, that it just feels like it needs another season. So there you go.
Yeah, it could benefit from another season. I think these characters need more development. And if it does stay on track, I think it is actually kind of smart that they do a season 3, because I think by the point they get to that, and maybe that would be the final season, I think it would feel complete. And I think a rewatch of 1, 2, and 3 would be kind of nice overall. Yeah. But I'm with people though. There are a bunch of people saying like they need to flip this around quickly just so the actors and actresses don't age out of their roles.
Yeah. Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Someone
I avoid that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. I joined in on my friend's watch party at one point. And it seemed very interesting. I forgot what episode. I think I joined in on like episode 4. But it seemed cool. I would like to go through the whole season and I don't know, really kind of see what people are picking apart with it.
Agreed.
Wait, can we get a live breaking news alert?
I'm scared.
For all of you point through people out here, you fans, you may or may not know, but there's a little bit of wrestling love that kind of floats around on the Point 3 podcast.
Oh God.
We have a really big signing for wrestling that just occurred.
Is it Okada?
Yeah.
Oh snap.
So
yeah, that's huge.
Massive. If you guys want to hear some wrestling stuff ever, maybe a little bit, or if you're interested and you're listening to this, let us know. Drop a comment. Maybe we can talk about that and add that to the news potentially.
Yeah.
We now
and football stuff as football gets closer.
Football gets closer. We love a lot of things here at the Point 3 podcast. Sometimes I wonder how we find time in our lives to stay current on all of these things. It is kind of mind-blowing sometimes. Like, there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes for all of you watching.
I feel like I have no idea what goes on with some of this news still, though.
It's a plug, but not a plug. But it is also a plug. Our Discord, honestly. Because not only is it between us, but everybody else on Discord that sends us all this stuff that they're like, hey guys, did you guys see this? Sometimes we don't, like, we miss it. And then we're like, holy crap, we need to talk about that.
Yeah.
So shout out to everybody on our Discord that constantly helps us keep up with this, because I genuinely don't think we'd be able to if we don't have like a place to consolidate everything.
No. And that's with free time. So when we don't have free time, and by free time I mean minutes.
If that. Yeah. Well, next up, The Boys season 4. I know Lou is very excited for this. Dropped new character posters of Homelander and Victoria Newman with the tagline "Make America Super Again," clearly riffing on the elections this year. Lou, I'm gonna ask you, how I don't know if we fully talked about The Boys yet here. How excited are you for this? Because I know this is the show you feel for.
Yeah, I mean, listen, on the heels of Gen V and them kind of spreading their wings a little bit with the spin-off series and knowing that it's going to pull back in somehow, some way, it's kind of cool to see how they bridged season 3 to season 4 with a spin-off, and it feels like it actually means something. And listen, all you Homelander fans, God, like, this is going to be bonkers. I'm expecting, this is one of those shows where they say it gets bigger and better. This will get bigger and better. Like, I don't know how this ends. I just feel like it might be Soprano style, where it's just black. That's it. And it's just like, the world has ended. I don't even know. This is just trending to be the apocalypse. So I'm pumped though. I'm pumped though. They're doing a really, really good thing over there on Prime with this, and it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
I still have to watch Gen V. You just reminded me that show existed.
There are a couple parts from that show, if you know, when it comes to the character called Cricket. Like, they just have stuck with me for way too long than I've wanted. It's weird, but if you haven't watched Gen V or at least the last couple seasons of The Boys, there's so many good concepts that they have that just other studios and companies are afraid to showcase and dive into. The source material does, but from a live action standpoint, for now, The Boys really, they kind of stand in their own, and they're different. So season 4 should be good.
You know what's funny about The Boys? My mom is obsessed with it. So, or not like obsessed, but she's a big fan of the show. So I've had to watch a lot of the show with her. It's very awkward at times.
If you think it's weird to watch it with your mom, just wait until you watch Gen V together.
Oh,
there
God.
will be moments where I'm like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah. The cool thing about The Boys too is, and you kind of alluded to it earlier, Lou, it's the fact that like Homelander's just getting started now. This is season 4, and he's just getting to the point where it's like Homelander's unleashed now, and that's like a very scary thing to think about, and they do it in a very interesting way. How they've built that up through the first 3 seasons. So yeah, Boys is going to be great.
I'll leave it. I'll leave it at this. This is one of the last things. I actually talked about this with a couple other people not that long ago, and it is a series that you can watch through the first time and watch it through 2 to 3 more times and have a different perspective and enjoy it just the same, if not more, when you watch this show through different characters' eyes. Huey, Butcher, Homelander, Starlight, like whoever, you can. It's a very good perspective show. Very, very good.
I noticed that when I had watched it myself for the first time, and then I rewatched season 1 and 2 with my mom, and then we watched season 3 together. But then when I rewatched like the entire thing with one of my roommates in college, I really opened up my eyes to freaking like just pick up different stuff I never picked up, Easter eggs here and there, plot points that they freaking foreshadow the heck out of, and then it's just like,
Dude, so good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Never see coming.
No.
So happy Prime is doing what Prime's doing with that show.
I agree. We agree. It's 0.3 certified on The Boys, but Ahsoka season 2 reportedly is set to begin filming this year via our good friend Daniel RPK. Are we excited for season 2?
Yeah. That's all I have to say.
1.
That's all I have to say. Yeah. I mean, season 1 was fun. As long as it's more of that, more cool stuff.
Yeah.
I'm down with it.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to connect to the Mandalorian movie?
So, from what I remember hearing one time, or at least when they first announced that movie a while ago, not late last year, but when they was first actually announced, they did say it was tying in all of the Disney Plus series. So, like Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian, Ahsoka. I don't think Obi-Wan, because technically Obi-Wan's in a different part of the timeline compared to them.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But it was supposed to connect all of them. So if it does, I wouldn't be surprised. But granted that the Mandalorian movie's another, 2 years out from now? I think it's 2026. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a season 3 before. And that would be the one to connect.
Do you guys feel the Star Wars hype? Like, do you feel like it is a premium franchise still today, even with all the Disney Plus and stuff that they're doing?
I can't say myself has been too hyped for it recently. I was on a huge hype train before episode 9 came out. And ever since the sequel trilogy ended, I'm like, eh. Yeah, I like it. I like Star Wars content and stuff, and I don't know, just something dwindled and Marvel had taken over a lot, or just kind of lost a lot of the word I'm looking for.
Luster.
Like allure, luster.
Yeah, exactly.
It just feels like it's there.
Yeah.
I don't get hot. No, I lie. Because The Mandalorian does hype me up. I won't lie. But everything else just feels like it's there. Even Ahsoka. I completely forgot until I saw on Instagram the other day that they're like, yeah, Bad Batch, this is the series finale. And I was like, wait, there was 3 seasons?
Yeah.
Crazy. 3 whole seasons. And this 3rd one is the last one.
When did the 2nd one come out?
Exactly. Jedi Survivor came and went, and it was like, oh, okay. And then
I actually bought that game.
There's that new bounty hunter one that comes out, I think, later this year. And I think there's gameplay. I really don't know. All that to say, Star Wars just feels like it's there. Nothing big has happened. I'd say the biggest thing that happened was Obi-Wan.
I think Obi-Wan is what kind of, I think people were just like
Obi-Wan
perked
had
up a little bit,
spark.
but it was flat for so many people. I mean, I think like The Mandalorian is kind of its own. I think people will jump on board and watch that, but kind of getting back into everything, I was right on the edge, and then Obi-Wan happened, and I was like, what the?
I like Obi-Wan. I like it. It has its issues. I think it's ragged on too much.
I agree, but that's kind of where I'm going with it, is like from a whole fandom of like, hey, did you see Obi-Wan? And people are just like, yeah, I saw it. And it's just like, all right, cool. And then you go to the next one and you're like, oh, I watched Obi-Wan. Did you watch it? And they're like, no, I didn't. And it's like, damn, am I the only one who wants to watch this show? Like, it was kind of tough to like.
And oddly enough, isn't that how it kind of felt like with Ahsoka too?
Mm-hmm.
Where it came out when we were doing the podcast, and I think it just came out around other things too that had us more hyped up, and ultimately it fell through without us really getting a chance to talk about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think maybe this will be kind of like a nice series or something we may eventually do, but to stick with these shows week to week,
yeah,
I'm not there. I'm not there right now. I don't know if I'll ever be there.
It's tough on some of them, especially Star Wars. It's tough.
Yeah. The Acolyte though, I might be heavy invested into that.
It has an all-star cast, but it's like, what's it about? What's it gonna look like? And that's big coming into Star Wars, especially now that Dune is out, and Dune looks insane.
That's where I'm going.
Has a good sci-fi feel. Like, dude, Star Wars has to step it up now.
I have never seen as more people talk about how Star Wars adopted certain things from Dune than the last 2-3 weeks. The amount of, was Dune the first to do these, and these question marks that are circulating across social media? I mean, Dune's been out since the 60s, and rarely do you see people that are like, what's Dune? And now everyone's like, oh, Star Wars should have probably done this. Like that's happening a little bit more. I mean, I know it's kind of recency bias type of thing, but there were rumbles of this 2 years ago.
Yeah. We'll see where it goes with that, because I'm interested to see if if Disney and Lucasfilm or Star Wars just takes a look back and says, all right, how can we get the Star Wars mystique again? Because back when the original movies came out, that's what they had, man. Like, people didn't see this type of stuff in the movie theaters, But now it just feels commonplace, especially Star Wars. But then Dune comes out, and Dune doesn't do a whole lot of crazy stuff in terms of sci-fi. It's not something super crazy, but it's different and it feels new. And I can't tell you the last time Star Wars visually looked different or new. It's felt the same since it first came out.
For the budget too.
And the technological advancements as well. You think about all that and it's like, man, they're not doing anything.
Yeah. Real quick, I know we have a lot more news to get to, but just let this sink in for those of you that are watching. Of Dune is very successful. Star Wars is floating somewhere in between great and maybe not, or I didn't know it happened. And then you have attempts like Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, and Netflix is like, great, we're going to have this part 1, whatever. And people are like, no, we're never going to watch that. But I have a director's cut. And there's like, no, we saw that one. Like, you got to get it right on the first time.
It's 6 hours, guys.
Yeah. It's just weird to see, like, there is a market for this. People want to see this, but Dune has a formula right now that other heavy hitters just can't replicate. And that's big. It's big.
Speaking about something that's never ever going to be replicated again, this is very off kind of off topic in terms of movies and shows, but something huge entertainment wise, and on the platform that we are in right now, Rooster Teeth is shutting down after 20 years, which is crazy to think. But this comes after Warner Bros. Discovery, more on them later, tried to sell the company off. Nobody really wanted it. It's been pleading out money apparently for a little bit. So they just decided to shut it down, and I think it's later this year. So RIP Rooster Teeth.
That's so sad. The amount of Halo YouTube videos just growing up, I could freaking think about. Amazing.
Yeah.
Halo used to be so freaking crazy.
Money.
Yeah.
I think there's a cool thing. It's on Variety. They have at its peak, Rooster Teeth first had about 225,000 paying members at the height of popularity, and that fell off to about 60,000 today.
Yeah, that's insane numbers. And I think if you're newer to like watching YouTube and gaming videos and all that, which I think all of us watch on here, if you were anywhere after, I would say maybe 2015, you really don't know what Rooster Teeth is. But if you were like on YouTube before that or watching videos, man, Rooster Teeth had their hand in everything. Every single entertainment thing you can probably think of in terms of like gaming, media, and all that, they were in it. So I think they helped shape YouTube into what it is today. And the fact that they are now, I hate using this word, but it's true, irrelevant and going away. It's odd to see, and like in a weird nostalgic way, kind of sad too.
Yeah. I mean, think of how quick people moved from Rooster Teeth to YouTube, and how quick these new platforms that we're all on, the lifespan of these, it's so short. So I mean, props to them for doing what they did. But yeah, it'll be one of those 10 years from now. People are like, what was that? Like, I have no idea. Yeah.
Dude, just say the freaking Red vs. Blue came out 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. I'm looking at their playlist right now.
I
mean,
mean,
getting goosebumps.
Even things like Death Battle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like those types of things. Again, without Rooster Teeth, you don't get that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, yeah, they were their own thing, but they played such a huge part on multiple series on YouTube that were eventually able to, I'd say, even outgrow, because I think Death Battle was one of those that like outgrew Rooster Teeth itself. It's just crazy to see.
Yeah.
RIP, and RIP to AAA games if you are owned by Warner Brothers, as we were saying, more on them later. But Warner Brothers came out and says that as a company, they're moving away from AAA game titles and want to focus on more live service and free-to-play games. The funny thing is that this comes literally not even a month after Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which is a live service game, and Warner Brothers coming out and saying that it failed to meet their expectations. And it's even made worse by the fact that people came out when it was first known that this was going to be a live service game. People came out, were very vocal about not wanting it to be that way. They doubled down on it. They were like, guys, please give it a shot. People did. Don't really care for it. I think it's the game in general, not just the live service aspect. But man, dude, it's like Warner Brothers does get in touch with your fans, please. Like, learn to read the room, because this is bad. This is bad.
Money talks, man. Money talks.
This just oh, sorry. I thought you.
No. Go ahead.
I was gonna say this.
I can only say money talks so many times. So I mean, good call.
This shit just screams microtransactions up the kazoo, and I hate it. As a avid hardcore gamer, there's 3 companies that just have dived into microtransactions and ruining their games, which is EA. I don't even want to talk about EA and how much money I've given them for freaking Madden.
Madden,
Warner
dude.
Brothers?
Even on mobile.
Yeah, oh my god. Screw Madden Mobile. We got EA, Activision, Warner Brothers. Terrible. I'm gonna throw Sony's movie industry and film industry into there too. Those 4 companies know how to ruin their damn fans' opinions.
It's
crazy.
What sucks about this, especially, is that if you have a title that you care about or a franchise that you care about,
yeah,
it's about to get bad. And the 2 that I think of very specifically, anything DC related.
Yep.
Because that's Warner Brothers umbrella and Mortal Kombat. If you are a fan of those 2, which I like, if you're like me, it's about to get bad. And we, as you know, and we talked about this months ago when it first came out, and kind of like the weird updates around it and how there's been a huge lack of it. I think this explains a lot. And I think we've been saying it when we had that conversation, that this isn't the studio's fault. It's the companies basically telling them, this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
That fatality has to cost, a 10-second cutscene has to cost $12 because we say so.
Yeah.
Put it in. And it sucks for the developers. It sucks for studios like NetherRealm Studios who have to deal with it. All I'll say is enjoy Mortal Kombat 1, because I think Mortal Kombat as we know it is going to change drastically next time. Injustice 2, enjoy the heck out of that game, because after this, if there's an Injustice 3, it's about to be really bad.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder when this will, the hammer will finally fall in conjunction with what's being developed now. And if they kind of bridge to just condition their fans to accept it and get people so hooked, which, I mean, a lot are, that people are going to pay. They're going to, because they don't want to miss out. And we're in a culture where everyone has to be first. They have to stream it first, know it first, post it first, all of those types of things. And if I can do it quicker and I can pay for it and I can get it within minutes, there are going to be people who are going to do it. And that's just only going to enable companies to keep doing what they're doing. Stuff like this. People got to say no to it. And Dan, they put up they give you a lot of reasons to not.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that there is an audience and a market for like live service games and free to play. And I think look at one of the most popular games right now, Helldivers 2. That's a live service game.
For democracy.
Yeah, that's a live service game. And it's doing a lot of things right, though. But like in terms of microtransactions and all that, there's not really too much into it. But we know that Warner Brothers, with their track record, are going to come in and do a lot of things that, and then ultimately that's going to impact certain variety of games as well, and like subgenres of them. So like Mortal Kombat 1 being a fighting game, if the next Mortal Kombat comes out and has a lot less stuff, it's gonna hurt a lot of other fighting games, because that's the one that sells the most out of all of them right now.
Yeah, I agree.
It's gonna suck too, because they'll probably be like Mortal Kombat like Infinite, and then it'll be like I guess kind of Rainbow Six Siege has like a nice. They've done it pretty swell with live service being like updated throughout the past 10 years, essentially. This game came out almost 10 years ago. I was a freshman in high school, or sophomore in high school when that thing came out, and it's still getting updates and reworks and like agents added to it and stuff. But the game's still alive, which is good. And Ubisoft has treated it pretty fairly. So hopefully Warner Brothers does the same thing, but like takes that with Mortal Kombat and in the aspect that you could just have one game with like character different variations coming out for 10 years.
They won't though.
But they won't.
Because ultimately what happens with something like Siege and Ubisoft is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I remember this more clear. Siege is a huge esports game.
Yeah, that is true.
It generates money in that way. It's constantly generating money through sponsorships and all this other stuff. So Ubisoft is able to.
Doesn't Mortal Kombat have good like?
I'll get to that. I'll get to that in just a second. Ubisoft is able to kind of dip their hand from that and not have to, be super aggressive in that way. The problem with Mortal Kombat, though, is that fighting game tournaments do make money, right? But it depends on the pot. It depends on how many players come in and all that other stuff.
Sonic Fox is playing or not.
Also true. But I think I was reading, I think this was a couple months ago. I think one of the first major tournaments for Mortal Kombat, first place got like $500. And it was a major tournament. Yeah. Like what we don't realize is that's nothing. That doesn't even, I think like the player said, I can't remember if it was Tweety or somebody, that doesn't even cover, oh God, that doesn't even cover their travel cost. And what we have to remember is that flashback to a game like Mortal Kombat X, where NRS released a specific skin for one of the ninjas. I think it was Ermac. And they said, if you buy this, I think it was like $3 skin. They said all the money that comes from that skin will go into a prize pot for the next big tournament. They don't do that anymore. Warner Brothers saw that it sold and they were like, hey, that's a lot of money. What if we keep that?
Yeah.
And then hence the $12 fatality.
I will say I would love to have a conversation on this. I'm curious of what this would look like in terms of esports and teams versus solo fighting championships, who funds it, how they kind of make that more attractive for more people. Versus, kind of right now it feels like a monopoly of like, I may or may not have a chance type of thing, right? I wonder if there's going to be a world where that increases drastically and more people are playing and there's more on the line. I mean, is there a world where there's some sort of turns into like gambling type of thing?
Yeah.
Funded through the platform.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we get shades of that with Street Fighter 6, where I think it's Evo. I can't remember what tournament it was, where $1 million on the line for the first place. Like that's life-changing money.
Yeah.
$1 million.
Yeah.
So it's doable. There's ways to do this to make it profitable for everybody, but Warner Brothers, as a company and their track record, again, just shows that they're so predatory that they're not going to share that wealth.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those are all fair points. But we still have a fair amount of news to get through. Really quickly, just wanted to thank every single one of you who are watching the Point 3 podcast here on YouTube and joining us weekly. Our latest episodes are live on our YouTube channel. So hop over there after you're done watching this, see what we've been talking about. There's a lot of great stuff that's going on. But we're going to rapid fire some DC news real quick here. And James Gunn doing his thing. He shared a photo of the entire crew filming Superman, right? Not Legacy, but just Superman in Norway, with it being the Fortress of Solitude. we do have James Gunn saying that development on Creature Commandos has continued, and James Gunn also shared his Superman inspiration board. So a little health check here. How are we feeling about Superman right now?
Excuse me.
That's all I gotta say. Feeling great still. Absolutely feeling great. A little.
Oh, go ahead.
Let's say a little upset they dropped Legacy out because that screwed up a couple of my thumbnails and posts in the past, but you gotta keep moving forward without Thor.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Sans the Superman Legacy name change. I'm excited. I want them to keep showing more, and I think this is nicer to do. I think what we definitely need is like a full-on costume reveal now. Don't tease us with the emblem. Give us the full thing. Beat Marvel to the punch.
Well, hang on.
Do Fantastic Four.
Hang on. Let's talk about that for a minute, though, because we have something coming out for you guys here shortly. Stay tuned. Discord here's it first. But what did you guys think of the Superman logo tease versus the tee up for the Fantastic Four and the unknown suits that we have? Because I think that's a big thing, right? That's a part of the competition. What are the suits going to look like? And one, I believe, is done better on initial announcement than the other, or no announcement to really be had.
I think DC is currently winning a little bit because, I mean, I know some people are like, there's no competition. No, there is. There is. DC's winning because Marvel had to push something else out of the way and move up something to align with this. And they had to make it their super heavyweight. And then DC responded in kind by being like, I know some people say that the Legacy name change isn't a direct answer, but part of me can't help but feel like it kind of is.
It matches. Listen, it matches how the movie feels.
Exactly. So it's like, it kind of feels like they just want you to be like, no, this isn't Superman and X, Y, Z. This is in the same vein as The Batman. This is Superman. It's a Superman movie. Go watch it. I want to say that somewhere deep in DC, they sat James Gunn down and they're like, dude, look, Fantastic Four doesn't have a subtitle. They moved it. We love Superman Legacy, but we need it to be just Superman. Yeah. And it's like, cool, I'll spin it in a social media post. Here you go.
Yep.
And then they're like
he probably did it right there at the meeting. He's like, done.
And then they're also like, can you drop a teaser? And I was like, yeah, I got you. Give me like 2 weeks. Done.
This man's the messiah that DC needed.
He's the shout out Dune 2 meme.
I know. I couldn't think of what it was though.
Al Gaib, Salim Al Gaib, something like that.
Insert the GIF that everyone is there in the memes. Oh, those are funny.
Right.
Yeah. DC's Superman's feeling good. And here's the one thing that I'll say to this news from the Fortress of Solitude, because I don't think we've all talked about this yet together. Or maybe I just disappeared. But they are subtly giving everyone the things that they've been looking for, that people were screaming for during Henry Cavill's time during Man of Steel. The traditional pieces, and Spider-Man, you're seeing this firsthand. I think you said something to me on the live that was very interesting. Just real quick, give us how you feel with All-Star and how they kind of present the Fortress of Solitude.
It's freaking badass. Yeah, it's just when they first get there, you ask someone like just a regular person to pick up the little key to it. And she tries to pick up the key and was like, damn, that's heavy. And next thing you know, Superman picks it up and he's like, oh yeah, just light work, like 15 million tons of freaking, like, just 15 million tons. The key to unlock his freaking secret lair is 15 million tons that only he could do. That is amazing. And just, I mean, I'm like where I'm at, where like inside the fortress right now, or like I had just gotten out of it, I believe, and it's cool. He's got like his little rooms that I got to see of secret stuff. At one point, there's a room of those. I can't say L's properly. Those that he had like shied away not to be looked at, and I thought that was funny.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool. I'm excited to see it, like a live action adaptation of it. Those pictures that he came, oh my god.
And that's why I was going to say his inspiration board, I think, is just one of those other things that adds to the fun.
Yep.
In a way, it's a marketing for the movie without it being a marketing where it's just like, hey, what is the inspiration? A bunch of other things, a bunch of cool Superman stuff. It's Kingdom Come, it's the animated series, it's comics, it's different moments. It's making Superman feel like he's connected to people, which I feel like he hasn't in a very long time, to be quite honest.
No.
Yeah, Superman is going to be something special, I think, when it does eventually come out and we see that first trailer and the first full look, which, again, DC, James Gunn, if you're listening, beat Marvel to the punch. Beat them to the punch. You need to.
Listen, there's a world where I think they should put it out first, but I think that there's a world where they're going to be like, go ahead. Like, it's done. We're just waiting for you to drop it so we can come by and just knock you out of the park. I think either way they can make it happen.
True.
What would you guys prefer? What would you guys prefer? Superman trailer drop before Fantastic Four or after?
Before, just because people are constantly going to be like, all right, let's compare it to Superman, versus if Fantastic Four comes out, then they're going to be like, all right, let's see how Superman looks compared to this.
But I thought it wasn't a competition.
They're going to, though. It is. And here's the thing. Superman does have a big cast of other people, right? But the main character is Superman. Fantastic Four has 4 people, and if at least 2 of them hit, they're going to be talked about more than Superman. Let's be honest.
Ooh.
And if they all hit as a family, if that dynamic is insane, I mean, come on, like.
But you can say they're kind of doing a little family dynamic, or not family, but the cast that Legacy has of other superheroes.
But they're not main characters.
That's fair.
Superman's going to be your main character.
Yeah.
They're going to be minor characters, and that's not a bad thing at all. But Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Yvonne, they are your main characters.
Yeah. Here's to that point, though. This trailer, there's 2 things that we'll be looking for. 1, how does it look? Suits are going to matter. And 2, what is the feel? What story are they trying to tell? What kind of feel are they trying to give us? That family dynamic, and then that feeling of hope and larger than life, and just that Superman feel. These are huge. These trailer ones for both of them, and the teasers that they give us, are going to tell a story that's either going to hit when we walk out of the theater, or we're going to be like, what the hell is that? I don't think that there's a mid ground. It's going to be, we weren't expecting this bad. We weren't expecting this. This is amazing. I say set the tone. I'm with you here. I would say set the tone. Let Superman get out there first, and then Marvel's going to be like, crap.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Superman first, just to see how Marvel responds.
Yeah.
They've never had big competition like that before. I mean, like,
No.
Not really.
Not
And I
really.
don't consider the Justice League time in the Snyderverse
No.
true competition like it was supposed to be.
No. Yeah. I hate bringing up
just
wrestling.
there, just to be there.
Yeah. I hate bringing up wrestling, but it really feels like when AEW came out and WWE had to step up certain things. I think with Superman coming out and them knowing what James Gunn is capable of and seeing what he's already done in terms of marketing and everything, they realize that, man, we have to step it up. And no pun intended, but I have hope for Superman other than maybe being a comedy. I hope it's not a comedy. But they have to realize that, James Gunn knows what he's doing, cares about this very deeply from what it seems. So they have to treat Fantastic Four the same way and put up all the stops to really make it be like epic, big, feels good. Yeah.
It goes. No, I was just gonna one quick point to before you get into that. We just talked about Dune 2, Star Wars, another attempts at it, Rebel Moon, right? Type of thing. There is a market for people who still want to see live action superhero movies. People just do. And whoever does it right is going to be the one that's going to stand tall at the end of the day. And by doing it right, it's who capture those fans. And even to Rome's point, maybe being a comedy, there's certain elements that people are going to be like, this is just different. It's fresh. It feels good. This is the start of something new, versus Marvel having to be like, hey, we still got it, guys. And they're like, maybe you do, maybe you don't. It's shaping up to be one of the most interesting times that we maybe have ever seen in the history of live action superhero cinema film.
Feels like the comic days of Marvel versus DC Comics.
Yeah. Honestly, and it's kind of eerie at times how similar both projects are in terms of like adaptation wise for these characters, where depending who you ask, Superman hasn't really had a live action standpoint done well for him. Again, depends who you ask, but overall, I would say there's not been a definitive like version of Superman where people flock to him. There hasn't been one for Fantastic Four either, No. They are both in reality what's the word? Franchises, I guess, that saved one medium in terms of comic books and are now back again in this time frame where people are fatigued and Marvel needs saving, and I would say maybe the superhero genre in general needs some, and both of these can do it. So yeah, I think DC is swinging for the fences, and to Rome's point, Marvel really does. They need to bring out everything they can to make this feel like an event and be like, you need to watch this. That casting announcement was not them swinging for the fences. That was them trying to hit for a double.
Yeah.
And then they hit a punt on accident. And then it was like, oh.
Bro, they batted the ball backwards and they're like, strike one. They're like, home run.
Yeah. Foul ball. I don't
know. Foul ball.
Yeah.
Good stuff, though. Good stuff. But speaking of Marvel news, Annihilus. Maybe we're going down the Fantastic Four route with this. Maybe we're not. Who knows? Annihilus is going to be making his MCU debut, quote, very soon. And his MCU origin will be that he was banished outside of time and space and will be connected to the Celestials. There's also reportedly a possibility that he could be a main villain for Avengers 5. Do we love this? Do we like this? Do we hate this?
I'm in the middle. I don't know anything about Annihilus. So I have seen a thread from a report of like a post of this. A lot of people are saying to keep Annihilus far away from live action and to upgrade his suit if they were. So I don't know much about him. I don't know any of like his story or origin. From what
I
I have read a little bit, it seems interesting.
I will still double down to my Quantumania theory and say if they're smart, Annihilus is one of the ants. And they need to justify he's been around for however long, which they have to do anyways with the Fantastic Four and other characters. This is a rumor, right? It's possible. But right now, some MCU rumors have really been coming to fruition lately, whether that's purposeful or not. I personally hate this. I don't think Annihilus should be anywhere near this phase or this saga or a big bad. If it's a solo villain, or fine, but the story is massive, and I think it should have its own chunk of the MCU.
Yeah, it feels weird for him to just like come out, you know, like mid saga, because taking it from both the standpoint of if they were going to do Kang and if they're not, if they were, having him then come out and be like the other major villain next to Kang doesn't feel good. It feels kind of weird. And then if you're doing this in a response to everything that happened and trying to phase Kang out, it also feels kind of weird.
Yeah.
Annihilus is a great character.
Yeah.
I think he's a fantastic villain that definitely deserves his time in the limelight well.
Yeah.
And I think it needs to be a multiple project thing.
Yep.
But having him just kind of come out and be there, it doesn't feel good. And then and then again, hearing that first part of the news where it's like he's making his debut very soon, it's like, what are you coming out in?
Right.
That would make any kind of sense.
How funny would it be? We were just talking about Superman versus Fantastic Four, and Superman has a fairly large cast of characters that are going to be introduced in the DCU, but it feels like the Fantastic Four is shouldering a lot of fans' hopes and wants for additional characters that we haven't seen yet. Nova, potentially Silver Surfer, Galactus, Annihilus, like that. There's only so much screen time, right, for this specific movie, and we haven't even had an intro for them, and let alone we're not talking about Doom. Here's a big one. I think Rum's a great bring up. They already messed up the scrolls. We know how large this story is. Annihilation, the Annihilation Wave, what it looks like. They can put their MCU spin on this, but I hope this gets debunked, and I do not hope that they move forward with Annihilus.
Yeah. And again, that's not to say that Annihilus is a bad character. He's not. He's just one of those that he needs to be proper. That would be...
It's gore. That's what the MCU did with gore is what would ultimately end happening.
It would be like gore, but it would also, I was going to say, it'd be like, hey, if today, imagine if they were just like, hey, Thanos, the comic book villain that hasn't been in the MCU before? Okay, he's going to appear in Captain America 4, and he's going to be the next villain for the Avengers. If that kind of news came out today and Thanos wasn't already in the MCU, people would be like, what the heck? Why would you ever do that? That's kind of on par with what this news kind of feels like.
Yeah.
Would it make you guys feel better if he were to be kind of like teased at the end of Avengers 5 to lead into a potential Galactus, like with however Fantastic Four turns out, and Celestial Wave? Like, not like the main villain for Avengers 5, like the report, but like, I guess a little tease at the end that the Annihilation is coming or something. I don't know. I know nothing about that story arc, so I'm just...
But even to that point, there's a large subset of MCU movie only, Disney Plus only fans who have no idea who Nihilus is.
Yeah.
So they could really make, I mean, for me, worst case scenario, they do this and it's a gore type of situation. Best case scenario, you get like a high evolutionary type.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt it's the latter though, just because of he would have to show up with the Fantastic Four, in my opinion. There's no way you can have him be like, oh, outside space and time, great. Here's an Ant-Man villain. No, thank you.
The problem with him being teased at the end of like Avengers 5 and being teased for like Secret Wars is that there's no time to, one, not only properly set him up, but also properly pay him off in Secret Wars. Because let's be honest, Secret Wars is going to focus on so much other stuff that's more important into the MCU that he's just going to get lost in the shuffle. And I think we talked about it in a live stream a couple weeks ago. I think there's only like 1 or 2 projects coming out in between Avengers 5 and Secret Wars. So it's like there's no time. So you're just going to introduce this villain, and if they don't use him at all, and then the MCU reboots, it's going to be like, oh, hey, remember the one guy that we teased and never used? Yeah. Okay, we forgot about him too. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Don't.
Yeah, not certified. Spider Brandon, what do we got next?
We got. Oh, wait, I am off. Karen Sony stated in regards to Deadpool and Wolverine cameos that there will be a lot of surprises. And lots of people traveled to London to where most of the movie was filmed.
Yeah.
Is this starting to get into multiverse madness level? Or are they kind of debunking and setting the facts straight that like there will be a lot? Because multiverse madness, we were just expecting a lot based off of rumors and just it being a multiversal movie. And that led to a lot of disappointments when not many cameos that weren't in the trailer came to fruition.
The difference between this and Multiverse of Madness is that it was fans over speculating on like 10 seconds of a trailer.
Fair point.
Where this is a star in the movie. Granted, obviously, Dopinder's probably not going to be in that much of the movie, but someone who worked on the movie coming out and being like, yo, there's a lot that you don't know about. And then I saw a great post on I think it was on Twitter or Instagram, one of the two, earlier today, that in regards to this, where it was like, what makes this feel a little bit more true is that Deadpool 2, Ryan Reynolds was able to get Brad Pitt as a surprise cameo just because. So it's like, imagine what they are going to be able to do now that they have Disney money and kind of free reign even more, where Deadpool isn't a risk anymore. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of cameos. I would believe that fully.
Dude, it's like that Kristen Dunst thing that came out where she's like, she's going to be in some future superhero movie, and she's like, yeah, I got kids, like I get paid, like I'm going to do one because I make money. The anyone who watched a Chiefs game know that the celebrity connections obviously run super deep, right? It's not a secret. Here's my hope for this thought that there's going to be a lot of cameos and a lot of characters. I just watched Guardians 3 2 weekends ago, and I was thinking when I was watching that awesome fight scene that they had at the end and kind of that hallway scene, that kind of an extended fight scene somehow, some way, of like all of these legacy characters and something against like the TVA or whoever the villains in the movie, whatever group fight that they ultimately do, which the MCU does thrive at, in my opinion. They're very good at their multi-person fight scenes. But a nice long one-shot extended scene with all of these people giving them their highlights would be so money for this movie. And that alone would just be chef's kiss. That would be my big win for this movie. Give them all a 3 to 5 minute fight scene and just let them just hammer people.
Yeah. And even if they don't, it's the fact that a lot of people have commented on it. Because I think like even today, the actor who played the Juggernaut in the X-Men movies came out and was like, yeah, no, I'm not in it. Mm-hmm. So it's like clearly there's a buzz around it. And I feel like certain actors know who's in it.
Yeah.
And also didn't she played X-23 in Logan, Daphne Keane.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't she post something on her Instagram story today about holding Logan's hand? So it's like, come on, something's gonna happen.
Let's go, baby.
Like no context, just random X-23 post.
That's gonna go crazy.
That is the fun of this movie.
I will be even more excited when Taylor Swift is in it.
All right, over under. If Taylor Swift's in it, did she have more or less than 5.5 seconds of screen time?
She will have a minute.
More than 5 points. More. Oh, a minute.
Okay, over. We'll say over under 59 seconds.
Over.
You're both over. I don't know.
Final answer. Locking it in.
Under.
Damn.
Okay. What's she doing? Because we know it's a cameo, but what's she doing?
Logan and Deadpool are sitting at the bar. Taylor Swift is in her Dazzler outfit on stage singing a song in the background. Fight breaks out. Bar fight. Taylor Swift, done.
Like that.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know. That's what I would do.
Do we get... Just throwing this out there, because I don't know, just because of who the possible villain is. If you know, you know. Do we get a James McAvoy cameo?
I say no, but that's more because I don't want him in the movie. I just have never liked him as I am sorry. I've never been a fan of him as Professor X. I'm sorry. He might be in it.
I would like to see him. I liked him.
Yeah. She's Super Bowl money, 30 seconds.
Yeah, boom. That's it.
Yeah. That is true. Yeah. Her Eras tour just came out on Disney Plus, by the way. It's bonus news.
All the Swifties out there going wild.
And that's why she's going to be in Deadpool.
Yeah.
Got her own film on Disney Plus now.
Maybe. Someone who's definitely confident in Disney Plus, Bob Iger. Boo. Insert crowd boo. Has said that he believes that Deadpool and Wolverine will be one of the more successful Marvel movies they have had in a while. Rome's, I'll message you later on Instagram. Don't want to give a spoiler out here.
Yeah, we do. We know though.
We do know. Yeah, wise words from Bob Iger.
Water's wet, baby.
Clown.
We don't. We don't. We just. That's such an easy thing to say. And you know for a fact afterwards, it's like, this is why quality is better than quantity. See what happens when we take over.
Stupid. Ugh.
I'm sorry. Do you know Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman?
Those are your money breakers, sir.
Yeah.
God, what a clown. What?
I don't love his... There are a few people outside of you guys that just know my disdain for the current landscape of Marvel commentary on projects. And his are just like, oh, wow. You get paid tens of millions of hundreds of billions of dollars to say, this is going to be a good movie.
Oh, he adds to it, though. And that's the problem. Because there's people who, unfortunately, can't formulate an opinion for themselves. And they hear Bob Iger and they're like, oh, the big guy at Disney said that Deadpool and Wolverine's going to be good. so I'm gonna like it. And it's like, no, dude, Deadpool Wolverine's gonna be good, not because Bob Iger said it was gonna be
totally
good, but because of everything else that is going on.
This is what he came back for, guys. This is what he came back for. Listen, he's so in tune that we have conflicting reports about this next topic. Curious to see what he says about this, answer all these loose threads. But Cap 4 plot details have seemingly surfaced, somewhat contradictory. Tiamat and Adamantium are involved. We are bringing back the Tiamat Islands. Thoughts here. The movie is a grounded political thriller. Wakanda will be revisited. Sharon Carter's power broker will play a huge, just kidding, small part.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's just this movie is just pancakes. Like, you got to cook it on one side and they're like, I don't know, and then you flip it over and you're just like, damn, it's burned on this side, and you're like, flip it over, and they flip it over and you're like, just gonna pour a syrup all over it and see if it tastes good.
But it's the first pancake, because normally with like the second and third
one,
you're better. Yeah, it's the first one where it's like even worse, and then when you flip it, it just splatters everywhere. That's this movie.
That's true.
It's so true. I mean, the butter still melts though. All right, the butter still melts.
As long as the butter be melting.
Yeah, it's interesting because I saw another report saying how Tiamat Island was always like the main plot point. I think that's why they were trying to take it out of like Thunderbolts and set that record straight.
Yeah.
I really, really, really hate that grounded political thrillers being the word used to describe this movie. I hate that, because now you've set an expectation for people to be like, oh, well, we're going to have drama and,
Air Force One, baby.
Air Force One. And, the president is going to be Thunderbolt Ross, and he's going to be so cool. So cool. And then when he turns into the Red Hulk, people are going to be like, that's so stupid. That's not grounded enough.
Listen, I mean, they really knocked that sentiment out of the park with Secret Invasion, as we all saw. It's just the speculation.
I forgot the power broker was a thing. I'm not gonna lie.
I'll never forget that. No. Because the one thing for Falcon and Winter Soldier I was looking forward to was Battlestar, stupid Madripoor, and the power broker, and I was like, this is gonna be lit. And then I get Zemo just like grooving in the club, and like 5 seconds of Bucky just doing his thing and beating people down. Pretend. You want to talk about a never forget? Falcon and the Winter Soldier cut me deep when it came to those two things.
Yeah, the Sharon Carter thing was a really stupid reveal too, where she was like, "I'm evil now." Haha. And it's like, what?
Package secure. I have the package. I'm in. Like,
what? And it's like, ew, you're bringing her back? And then it's like, you're involving Wakanda? Stay out of Wakanda. Not because it's like, here's the thing. I feel like it is cool that they're at least trying to finally connect some of these other threads and movies together. And if we get like Shuri and Cap,
hell no, we're not going to get Shuri and Cap. It's going to be Okoye who's on a mission with Ross, and it's just like, oh, I found.
But if we did, you know what I mean? It would be cool. But I have no faith that that's what's going to happen. I feel like they're just going to be like, hey, remember Wakanda? We tried to take vibranium. We don't need vibranium. We got this new thing. A guy named Adam found it. What should we call it? Adamantium.
What do you mean? You mean that's not what
that sounds like
Ross's soccer team jersey's name was?
Dude, it just might be. He might be like, yo, my son's name is Adam.
Tumblr. Yeah.
And he likes metal.
Yeah.
Adamantium. By the way, I'm going to test it on my son.
Yeah.
Weapon 1. Which would be cool if that was the twist, but it's not going to happen.
No, here's the hard part, and why like we kind of are a little jokey on this one is they had such an easy story to tell between Cap 4 and Thunderbolts to just make this feel large. Have your character who's supposed to be we haven't even talked about Sam Wilson at really any point of this, of being like, this is what we're really looking forward to. Anytime we ever talk about Captain America 4, I swear we have to remind ourselves that he is a character all the time.
I don't even care about Captain America in this movie.
No.
I was gonna say nobody cares, and that's the problem. It's like nobody's excited to see him, and that's such a blunder on Marvel's part, because you could have he is a good character. He is, but everything around him is just such garbage that it's like, oh, I don't want him in the movie anymore. I don't want to see him play anymore. And then it's like, you find out that they're removing the Serpent Society, and then the next week they're like, hey, grounded political thriller, so we can't have guys dressing up as snakes anymore.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, by the way, that was supposed to be his first big set piece as Cap. And then it's like, it's even dumber, because you're taking away the things that would have made him cool, because that'd be like saying, hey, Captain America's not fighting the Nazis anymore in Captain America 1. That first like big set piece where he's rescuing people, he's not doing that.
Take it out.
Take it out. We don't want that. Or in the second one, the first big part where he's fighting Batroc, we don't want that. Man, take that out.
Dude, that was going to be my example.
Wants to see that.
Guys, this Cap should not feel like the third best Cap. And I am including Captain Carter. Captain Carter is a better story and arc than Sam Wilson as Captain America will ever have.
I dare even say fourth best Cap, where Captain America,
the one that got cut in half in Multiverse of Madness, does that one count?
No, the one from 1602 has a better. I'm more involved in his. I'd be like, yo, I want to see that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what a misfire with Marvel.
Continue the February trends of just banger movies that come out.
And the sucky thing,
last year for this shit.
And I was going to say, the sucky thing is, we still have to wait. This movie could have been watched 3 times over already, with the amount of times they've pushed the release date. It's been what, 3 times, 4 times? At various points in 2023 and 24?
Because it was supposed
to be ridiculous.
Gosh, when was this originally slated when it was announced at Comic-Con? Do you guys know off the top of your head? I was gonna say it was. We need to know. We need to know. Everyone, bear with us. Technology.
Yeah, we'll cut this later.
Yeah, but I think I got it. May 2nd, 2024.
Dude, Captain America. Been like 3 months, 2-3 months.
Yeah.
So May, then to August of 2024, then to February.
And Thunderbolts was supposed to close his face out.
This is so dumb. And
it's so funny.
And trying to quickly tie it back, and then we can end this.
Falcon even come out,
right?
Falcon 21 Soldier coming out.
21, yeah. I think May-ish.
Yeah.
This just goes to show you why Superman is a problem for Marvel, because you have projects like this that clearly don't really have direction because of all the reshoots and the pushbacks. This tells you that something's wrong. Something is very wrong. And so if Fantastic Four isn't spectacular, if this isn't even spectacular, to be quite honest, Superman is going to come in, steamroll everybody, and
also get steamrolled by Creature Commandos. This might not even make it to that. This might lose to an animated show.
That's if this doesn't get delayed again.
Fair point. Fair point. Fair point.
I don't know.
Tough. Delayed again.
Tough times. Yeah, tough times. This is one of those movies where I wish spoilers, rumors, and stuff never came out for it.
Agreed.
I would be okay at this point, and I will triple down on this if they just sent this and put it on Disney Plus. There's no part of me that needs to see this in a Dolby. I do not need to see this in an IMAX. Let me just understand the story, see where you're going, and let me move on and look to the next movie. That's how I feel about Brave New World. I will watch it at home.
It sucks. It sucks so much because this should be Cap's big, big heyday again.
Totally.
And we're just like, ugh. We're like, put it to die already. Put it to
kind
die.
of.
That's crazy to say about a Marvel film where it's like, we don't even care anymore. And then you hear about all the things they're taking out, and it's like, what are you going to put in replacement of that? And it's like, it clearly can't be anything good.
No.
Marvel has gone full circle into the Star Wars territory that we discussed earlier.
A little bit.
Some of it has, at least.
Some you can be selective on what you allocate your time. Not everything is a must see.
No.
Unfortunately, we here at the Point 3 podcast wish it was.
This should have been. I was going to say
this should have been.
This should have been. And when it was announced, I would dare say it was.
Oh, listen, real quick. I will tell you, when I saw that this was announced and they were announcing the phase before they gave us that completely empty timeline for phase 6 that had 3 movies on it. This leading up into Thunderbolts to end, knowing that Red Hulk was going to be in this at the time, you were like, damn, this is going to be really good. And I will say the number one reason why is there was an expectation that you needed an Avengers level type of movie to go against the sheer number of villains that may be in this, and one of, if not the strongest character in the MCU that we've seen in a very long time in a Red Hulk. How do they handle that? What do they do? And then you get Falcon and the Winter Soldier. No one wants to rewatch it. You get She-Hulk, and then you get, oh, hey, well, they're going to bring back the 08 Hulk crew and put them all in this movie. And I'm like, great.
That doesn't include Abomination, by the way.
Yeah, which doesn't include that character.
Remember the leader?
Yeah. Oh, the guy that just smiles, head bubbling on the ground. Huge. Really looking forward to that.
He's in there, though.
I don't know.
But he's going to be comic accurate, so...
I don't know what that means. Even if that was serious and I was supposed to be like, for sure. From an MCU standpoint, I'm like, this guy's going to have a big green head. That's it.
He's just going to have a hat. It's going to be a top hat. It's going to be green.
It's going to be like 2 people standing in a trench coat.
Just like, what was that? Mars Attacks or something? Like,
oh, God.
That old movie?
Yeah, that's exactly what he... Red Hulk's not even going to be red. He's just going to be green, and he's going to spray paint himself red.
Oh, God. I was just thinking to myself, the transformation
Kool-Aid.
Harrison Ford, seeing Harrison Ford like go into a Hulk,
it should be badass. Cool.
It should be badass.
It's not going
I feel like
to
he's
be,
gonna hate it though.
He's gonna pop in like in old animated shows when they do it as a joke, where it's one frame. He's just standing there. Then it's gonna cut away, and you're just gonna hear "ah." And then he's gonna be like, "I'm Hulk."
Dude, if they do anything close to that, I will be very upset. And if they don't allocate budget the right way and they give us that She-Hulk thing where they show us one transformation, the rest of the time it is a cutaway, and then she's just like, "Oh, my clothes expanded. Weird." I don't need that. I don't want that. I want to see a full transformation, and I want to see him beat everyone down. And because I want that, it's not going to happen. So I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry for wanting something that somewhat okay. Wow.
So disappointing.
Wow. I'm gonna rewatch the beginning of this to get back on a high note.
Yeah. Watch Dune 2 if you haven't. That'll bring you back. You'll enjoy that. But everybody, we're out of time today. Thank you so much for staying with us and covering this week's news. There was a lot. So if you're new here, please subscribe. If you aren't new here and this is your, whatever time back with us, thank you. Join us. For those that haven't, our Discord, join us there. Listen to us wherever you listen to your major podcasts. Follow us on our social medias. But until next Wednesday, where undoubtedly there will be news, because it always happens where we log off and then they're like, hey, here's your first look at Red Hulk. It's going to happen. But until then, you have to keep watching. You have to keep reading. And you have to keep nerding out. We will see you next Wednesday live stream.